Today I come to you to speak about the DREAM Act, and my audience includes my mother and my sister, who will ask me a few questions after the end of my speech. The DREAM Act is a bipartisan legislation, but before I get into that, I have to ask you a question. Has there ever been a time that you have been discriminated against in a way that you had no control over? There was no reason to it. You were just being judged for no reason at all. Being that the United States has a very varied population, it is a reasonable assumption to assume that everyone has been discriminated against in some way or another. I can tell you personally that I have. I've been discriminated against because I'm blonde, because I'm white, because I'm a girl. Everyone has been discriminated against. And every year, out of 3 million high school students that graduate, 65,000 get discriminated against with an inherited title of illegal immigrant. These students could have been brought over from the time they were an infant to maybe 5 years old. But even though they've gone through the whole U.S. system, they've gone from preschool up, they've learned all the high school courses that everyone else does, they have no way to become a legal high school student and then a legal college student. And many of them aren't even able to get into college because they're undocumented. They have no social security number. They have no way to document themselves. However, there is the DREAM Act that will create a 6-year path to citizenship for these undocumented students. It will create a path to legalize them, to create them as citizens, and to give them a way to be documented, to go to college, to pay taxes, to do everything that a citizen does, because they'll be a citizen. Under current immigration laws, though, these undocumented students are not recognized. There's no path for them to become a citizen, because they've been here illegally. The National Immigration Law Center states that in order to become a naturalized citizen, you must hold a green card for up to 5 years, and you have to pass a civics, history, and English exam. On top of that, what you must do is have good character. Now, these undocumented students can have the best character ever, and they can pass every single one of the exams, but because they've been here illegally for so long, they aren't eligible to get a green card, so they can't become a citizen. However, that's where the DREAM Act comes in. Under the DREAM Act, current immigration laws will be reformed to where there is a path for undocumented students who were brought here under no form of their own. They were brought here by their parents, and their parents decided to stay legal. So, in this, the requirements are they have to be at the age of 15 to 32, and they have to have been in the United States for 5 years before the DREAM Act is passed. So people won't just come over here and say, well, I'm here and I'm undocumented, so let's go to the DREAM Act. No, they have to already be here. On top of that, they can't go out of the United States for 362 days during this 6-year period. And they can't just get a job and be here. They have to work towards bettering themselves. Under the DREAM Act, undocumented students have to be students or a person in the Army. They have to either have 2 years in the military or get an associate's degree, or another option, they can work for 2 years towards a higher degree such as a bachelor's or master's. At the end of this 6 years, which they can file for permanent citizenship. During this time, they had to have had a good character. Also, the DREAM Act will create benefits, not just to these undocumented students, but to America as a whole. It creates economic and social benefits. For one, it will create a larger Social Security system, money system for it. Under the DREAM Act, there will be more U.S. citizens created legal, and therefore they will have to pay taxes, and part of that tax will go to the Social Security system, creating more of a revenue for the Social Security system and more money that goes back out from the Social Security system. On top of that, it will create a smarter, more educated workforce, which is just good for the economy. There will be a higher average income for the U.S. population. On top of that, legalizing these undocumented students will actually create more spots in college for more people. Now, this may sound a little crazy. You think you put more students legally into the college system and you create more spots. How do you do this? Well, it's actually pretty simple. First of all, with universities, especially state universities, they get money from the state, and it depends on how many students they have. So, legalizing these students, they'll be able to claim them as students, and they will get money for them, which is making their tax base greater. And with the extra money they get, they can expand. They can create more colleges in the college. They can make the colleges that they already have bigger. They can create more dorms, more space, more everything. So in conclusion, the DREAM Act not only is good for these undocumented students, but it's good for Americans as well. Just in general, it just makes more sense. If they're here, why not make them legal to make them pay taxes? Rather than letting them be here to get benefits that Americans get, why not make them also pay taxes? So, with that, I have to ask you, do you want to be discriminated against as an inherited title, something you have no control over? I know I don't. So the DREAM Act should be passed to create a better future for these undocumented students. After all, the United States was made as a safe haven for people against discrimination. So why should we discriminate against people that came over here, possibly, very, very possibly, because of bad conditions in their parents' homeland? Thank you. And now my audience will ask me some questions. Yes.
Why not make all undocumented students go into the Army?
That's actually a very controversial topic. Why not make them all go into the military? And because the DREAM Act is working towards making undocumented students citizens, they're protected under the 10 amendments, the first 10, which is considered the Bill of Rights, and therefore they are protected against forcement into the military, except for in times where you have to enlist, which everyone's pulled out of. Drafted.
Won't the larger number of students make American students lose their spots in college?
Well, as I said in my speech, legalizing the undocumented students will actually create more space in colleges for not only Americans, but the legalized undocumented students.
Won't the United States be overrun by illegals?
The United States will not be overrun by illegals because the illegals that will be legalized are already here. They're in the school system. Taxpayers are already going into them, into their education. So it's just creating a greater legalized population, but the population itself won't grow. Thank you.